Anime rules the box office. Larry Ellison has his sights on another major legacy film studio. The Sphere hits big with The Wizard of Oz, and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. Jake is just awoken to join us here this afternoon. My name is Ryan, and as I just said, I am joined, with always, by Jake Holtzclaw. But in this instance, Jake, again, is exhausted. So do I even have to ask you?
I really thought I had more. I had more time.
We come back, and for our audio listeners, this man is like leaning back, mouth agape, just mid-yawn, just,
No, I was thinking about something else, and I was like, dude, I got plenty of time to.
I look over.
I'm pretty good.
There was a solid 2 seconds where you were just mid yawn, and there you could see the click because you're like you lean forward real hard.
Sorry, fellas.
No, it's okay. And what a great way to start our episode, Jake. As always, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I after the episode last week, Tuesday, or was it Wednesday? Days run together nowadays. Bike is running on its own. I haven't mentioned it to my knowledge. I might have mentioned it unconsciously, passed out. But bike is now running, and now we get to number one, get the registration, definitely. Learn how to ride it, and what's next? Yeah, kind of do it like a once over on the maintenance. So change the oil, check chain, grease everything, check tires. Tires definitely need to be swapped out, I think. But the stuff you actually are supposed to do for like a car every few thousand miles. Well, this thing sat for 3 years, and there's no telling how long it's been since an oil change or the tires have been swapped. So it's you get it running, and it's like, okay, cool. Now we've got something worth putting more time into. So that's like my rose of the last week, if we're doing roses and thorns.
Oh, that's actually a good thing to call this segment. Like if we do give this thing a name. What's been your rose and thorns of this past week?
Oh, what are my thorns, man? I think just the main one is just like having a lot of stuff like on my timeline, I guess. Like 2 projects at once and having to choose which one's more important, which in my mind, like one of them is definitely more important and the other one isn't, but it sucks like putting one off because you have both videos have people waiting on you. So it's just kind of like, and then you have girlfriends and hobbies and work, and oh man, it all stacks up. So I would not recommend having 2 projects at one time.
The unspoken hard truth about being an adult, as we are both still somewhat new to it compared to our older counterparts, it's the juggling of everything is so hard. Like it is so because you have to prioritize, and then some people feel left out because it's like I have to focus on work and the partner and then this thing that I really want to do. And so yeah, I feel you, dude. I understand.
So when I get both of these off my plate, however soon or however long that will be, I'm taking some me time.
And you have more than earned that, my friend. I look forward to that for you.
Maybe I'll read.
No. We talked we talked last week that we have our self-help or self-improvement hobbies that we want to pick up, and it's just I want to read books, and I want to sit on the porch early in the morning and watch the sun come up, and it's just nope, doesn't happen.
I want to take a morning walk, but I can't go into bed at 2 a.m. and waking up at 7. I just you wake up at 6:30 for your walk, and you're like, no, not happening. Not happening. I even built I built shelves, and I got a chair in the corner, like my real reading nook. There's so much crap piled on that chair that it doesn't get used. And it's not like the crap being gone is going to change that, but also, it's all ready for me just whenever I feel like I have the time.
Good habit building is such an essential skill, and it's so hard. It is so hard.
But you guys remember? I think I said this in a previous podcast when my conundrum with putting up a calendar to track to like actually put myself into habits. It took several months because I kept putting off putting up the calendar, and therefore I put off everything else I had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a conundrum, paradox, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Endless cycle of
The
uh,
Ouroboros of calendar and trying to oof, never ending circle.
it's up and I've got my stuff on it. Now I'm just anxious all the time.
Yeah, I feel that.
Blissful ignorance.
No, painfully not that. Although we will get into not blissful but ignorance later in this segment when we talk about predictions.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But how was your week?
Thank you so much for asking, Jake. So my weekend consisted a lot of enjoying family time. I don't do that a lot, and it's one of those things where it's like you talk about like self-help and or like bettering yourself. It also consists of like visiting family and like surrounding yourself with like people that like you enjoy spending time with. And like those times when it's like you've looked at the calendar and you're like, I haven't been home in like a month or like 2 months or something like that. Like it sneaks up on you like how long. It had been like 2 or 3 months since I had like gone to my family's home and like visited my grandma. So I was like,
Yeah.
I looked at that like 2 weeks ago and I told my partner, I was like, we have to go to my family's home just to see them, just to hang out for a weekend, like leave after work on Friday and stick around till like noon on Sunday. Just because like
Yeah.
I don't really do. I do that maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and I need to do it more. But it's like it's time to do that, and so that's what I did this weekend. That was my rose. Was I got to watch? My family is a very sporty family, so like my brother, a couple of my brothers are still in like school, so they're athletic and they play sports, and others like my some of my families are coaches, and all the rest of them just love athletics. So um, I got to sit the entire weekend and just watch college football, and then started the NFL Sunday yesterday, which was really nice. I don't really get to do that. It was just really nice to just not do anything. I sunk into a recliner for like 14 hours on Saturday. Like I woke up and I did not move. I woke up, went into the living room after taking a shower, and sat on that recliner with my legs up, watching college football all day. And it was like it's a luxury that like when I was in high school, it was like I got to do that fairly regularly. Like not every weekend because I was a basketball manager and I like ran cross country, and so it was like something that I was still busy doing. But it was like I got to enjoy time like that. And then I got to college, and I never got to do it again. Like it just did not happen. So that was the first time I'd done that in like 5 years. So it felt really nice. So that was my rose. If I had a thorn, the thorn would be I started on like last Wednesday. I mean, this is going to be TMI a little bit. Like a waterfall of mucus started falling out my nose on Wednesday. And it's like, that thing when you like start feeling sick, it's like the precipice of illness and you're just like, "Oh god." Like I was sneezing like 7 times in a row. It was just nasty snot. So I'm like, this is bad. And so I survived through the week. But I still like even today, like I'm still on like Mucinex or like the mucus dry, like whatever medicine that dries up your sinuses. That's what I'm still on that today, but I could just feel it. It's just like just in the back of like my not even like like when you're like
you,
fine. What?
you just keep going, man.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now. It's just like and
No, go ahead.
you're like fine, but it's like you can kind of feel like you're getting sick or you're just a little sick. You just caught a little something something.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now, and so that's my thorn.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
No, it's okay. It's completely okay. I'm not even really complaining. I'm just describing my feeling. Anywho,
How are the box office?
well, first off,
No, we're skipping one. I'm skipping one.
we're
What are you having to drink today, Ryan?
yeah, I better say thank you. So Emily is drinking water. She is not feeling well, so she's going to be staying behind the curtain today and in the back pushing buttons. But for those new uninitiated, this is our micro segment called "What Are We Drinking?" in which we describe what caffeine or caffeinated beverage we partake in to make sure that we can get through today's episode. In that case, I am drinking. Thank you for asking, Jake. Just black tea because I was busy before this and I was like, yeah, ha, ha, ha. I like to or call it caffeinated leaf water. It's just my
Yeah.
go-to when I'm on a time crunch and I just need something to get through because I like the taste of I like black coffee. I like the taste of the bitterness, and so that's what I go with. Anyway, Jake, what about you?
Water.
Whoa! It does not look like that in the camera and the reflex. That looks like white wine there, brother.
Nah.
By the
Nah.
end of today's episode, Jake's gonna be slurring a little bit, like, but just water in a wine glass.
There's no bubbles in it. So water. I made Ryan the odd one out with Emily and I drinking water. So
It's okay. I definitely need the caffeine.
yeah, I'm gonna crash. I'm already yawning.
Yeah, yeah. As we saw, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is our micro segment. What are we drinking? We will go ahead and move on into our first official segment of the episode, which is always box office news. As you can see for our visual watchers, this week we had an interesting top five. We had the Demon Slayer movie finishing first, followed by last week's number one, The Conjuring Last Rites. Then following, I should say, in third is Newcomer Downton Abbey, the grand finale. Then The Long Walk at 4, and Toy Story, the 2025 30th anniversary re-release, is at 5, and we'll get into all that. Before we dissect those numbers, because we're going to go from the top down, we're going to begrudgingly go over what we predicted last week, because every episode at the end of segment 1, we predict what we think will happen next week. 99% of times when we do this segment, it is just blind. This week, we're putting a caveat on that because we did do some light research. We didn't do any of the forecasts. We didn't look into what people projected the numbers to be for each because that's cheating. But we did look into which films would be sticking around next week and which ones wouldn't, because that is, I think that's one thing that's fair for us to know, is if it's even going to be in theaters. So anyway, last week, Jake predicted that The Conjuring would come first, followed by The Long Walk, then Downton Abbey third, Weapons 4, and Demon Slayer at 5, in which I want to give you full 100%. You called that. You said Demon Slayer would finish top 5. I did not. I didn't think I know anime is a behemoth of a popular genre, but I did not think that this film, and I'm not familiar so much with Demon Slayer, so maybe that was where I fell short-sighted in my ignorance. We talked about it before. But you completely called that, Jake. Demon Slayer being in the top 5, not just, I mean, I know they won, but still.
I think based off of what happened this week in the box office, I think Jujutsu Kaisen Hidden Inventory Arc, which was the movie they just released in theaters not even a month ago, almost a month ago.
Yeah.
But they only released it during the week. And I don't think it was included in Box Office Mojo's lineup.
It wasn't even it was Wednesday through Friday. It wasn't even a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was over the weekend and they still didn't include it. But I digress. I think it was robbed. I think whoever made that stupid decision should be fired. No. I really think that was just a mistake. I mean, I really think it would have done numbers. Let's see. I am looking it up. 34 million domestic.
In 3 days?
Or
is that, did that include the weekend that just wasn't
Oh, that was 2020. Sorry. Not even 2025. This one. Sorry. Wrong one. It didn't even crack 10 million.
But that's 3 days. That's a week. Wednesday through Friday, 3 days, and during the week, and it still made how many million?
Jeez, I'm trying to find it. It doesn't give me a straight up how long.
I wonder how right you are.
I know I'm dead right. I'm straight up. I'm right. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All of July apparently, but it only got released to 1,100 theaters on July 16th, and then on Wednesday, and then Thursday, same amount of theaters, and then on Friday it dropped to 475.
See, now those are limited releases.
It was 475 for the next 7-8 weeks, and then it dropped to 31 for the next 10. So I argue, I think whoever decided that shouldn't be fired, but should definitely have learned their lesson.
What's that? You said that was Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
which arguably is on par, if not better than, or more popular than. I don't know about better than, but more popular, more mainstream than Demon Slayer is.
The
I
fact
think.
that
Now, Demon Slayer might have the tenure. I think Demon Slayer might be around, has been around longer than Jujutsu Kaisen because Jujutsu Kaisen's like a early 2020s anime, so it came out in I think 21
Mhm.
or I could be mistaken. So it's not got the long standing, but I think it's mainstream enough that it should have pulled way more than just it should have cracked 10 million. Hell, I'd have put it higher than 30.
Yeah.
Like I think it's on par with Demon Slayer, but I could also be very wrong. I am skewed by my For You page and all the edits and all my friends watching it and knowing about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
but I,
I think that there's some credence to that, mainly because if the film was at that limited of a release, 1100 then down to 400 in that short amount of time and it still almost made 10 million, right?
yeah, so it almost made 10 million at a third of the theaters on a Thursday and a Friday.
It would have done numbers had it had gone
I think
national.
so.
No.
Yeah, because I was getting a lot of ads for it.
Yeah.
I just don't think people were going on a Thursday.
No, and I think that's completely valid. The thing, so going back to our top five here, the reason that Jake's going off on a tangent about Jujutsu Kaisen from months ago is because Demon Slayer absolutely dominated the box office. Jake predicted that Demon Slayer would be in the top five this week. He didn't predict one, but he was correct in a no. Well, I think that's important to say because if we're talking about predictions, last week Jake, you got 1 of 5 correct. I was 0 of 5. I had The Long Walk followed by Downton Abbey, The Conjuring Weapons, and then Freakier Friday. I did not think Demon Slayer, and again, I'm just ignorant, and I didn't know, like, I know Demon Slayer is popular. I didn't know an anime could pull in the numbers that it did, of which we're going to get into right now. So, with a shocker, as we've been describing, Sony Pictures and Crunchyroll's Demon Slayer flick absolutely dominates the box office. The film smashed 1999's box office record for an anime feature film set by Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, by earning 70.6 million domestically. If I remember correctly, Mewtwo Strikes Back earned around 30 something million, so more than doubled what the previous record holder was for domestic anime openings in our box office. The first in what is meant to be a series capping trilogy, Demon Slayer has already earned more than 300 million globally, and 200 of which being from its native Japan alone. In the States, the film is playing on many large premium screens with both dubbed and subbed versions. So if you like either or, I know that's like a thing. If for those who don't watch anime, it's the question of do you watch dub or subbed? Both are available, so you can go watch it. That's probably helping it out a lot. So I'm going to really try this synopsis. I don't know these characters, and so I'm going to butcher some pronunciations, but we're going to try, and Jake's going to laugh at me. So the IMDb synopsis of the film: the Demon Slayer Corps are drawn into the Infinity Castle, where Tanjiro, Nezuko, and the Hashira face terrifying upper-ranked demons in a desperate fight as the final battle against Muzan Kiputsuji begins. Very
Huh?
dramatic. Very dramatic. I like the way that sounds.
Well, go give it a watch.
I
I
definitely.
don't know. I think from what I heard about the trailer was it was a different I don't know, it's not a different art style, but they put so much time and effort into animating this movie. That was what I saw all of the fans talking about who have already watched Demon Slayer, is they were saying this is the best it's ever looked. They animated it. They did like so I think a lot of them attributed it to being like really smooth, which means it has a high frame rate, which means they drew
Mm,
more frames,
yeah.
um, which is put a lot of effort into it. And so that's what I saw, at least on the trailer. And that's why I figured it would be top five. It's just like I thought, and it did look cool. Like that
Yeah.
trailer did its job. It did its job.
Yeah.
So but I could not have predicted a topping the leaderboard at 70 million. That's unheard of. Like you had said, 1999 for a Pokemon movie.
Yeah. And it's like when you hear Pokemon, you expect that to be like
Yeah.
top. Like when I was reading it, I was like, okay, like that makes sense that would have held for almost 30 years. But the fact that it made less than half of what
Yeah.
Demon Slayer made. I don't know. Maybe anime, especially these theatrical releases, will that be the next big thing to come out into theaters nowadays? Are we going to see not even like the series spinoffs, but like anime originals
Oh,
to theaters because they earn money?
Demon Slayer actually was only a year older than JJK. They're both late, like
Mm,
2019, 2020.
wow.
Uh, so 2019 for Demon Slayer's first air date in Japan, and then 2020's first air date um, for JJK. So
Mm,
that's crazy. These new guys are getting releases, and
yeah.
um, so surprising.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We'll go ahead and move down the list here, 2 through 5. So finishing second, as Jake shows his not wine beverage to the camera
it's
for
not.
our audio listeners. Finishing second is The Conjuring Last Rites. So this was last week's home run film. It earned a lot of money last week. It did not earn as much money this week. I talked a little bit about it last week with horror films and why I was nervous to put it up in my number one spot. I think I still put it second or third. It's because of what happened this week. It dropped by 68% in earnings from last week, earning
69
25.6.
and a half. Sorry,
69
I
and a
didn't
half
update that.
updated numbers. So it
Yeah.
dropped almost 70% from last week to this week in terms of total earnings and ticket sales, bringing in 25.6 million in week 2. The film, though, is still very successful as it has brought in 332.8 million globally. So big numbers. This is by no means meaning me saying that this film is not succeeding, because James Wan has another home run in the horror genre. It's just shocking to see it drop by 70%, especially one that was so popular last week. But again, as we talk about, it's just something that happens with horror films, at least, especially this year. Finishing third is Downton Abbey, the grand finale from Focus Features, earning 18.1 million in its debut. Another example of a TV franchise concluding with a major motion picture. The grand finale sees the end of the Crawley family story. The IMDb synopsis states, quote, "When Mary finds herself in a public scandal and the family faces financial trouble, the household grapples with the threat of social disgrace. The Crawleys must embrace change, with the next generation leading Downton Abbey into the future." Again, dramatic, but not the same type of dramatic as our last synopsis we read. The film has earned 30.4 million globally and currently has a 91% on the tomato meter and a 96% on the popcorn meter. So a rare unified opinion from audiences to critics. Very popular is Downton Abbey, the grand finale, the final run for that franchise. Finishing fourth is the latest Stephen King adaptation in Lionsgate's The Long Walk, starring Mark Hamill and Cooper Hoffman. That 90% Rotten Tomato rated film earned 11.7 in its debut. Described as muted by Variety, and for those listening, I put air quotes on that because that is a direct quote from Variety. This number sees the film earn more than half of its $20 million production cost. So not all negatives to be found for Lionsgate. The film also earned a respectable 85.5 on the popcorn meter. So again, another one that most people seem to really like. And rounding out our top 5 is the 2025 30th anniversary re-release of Toy Story from 1995. So again, we talk a lot about how we've jumped from source to source in our releases when we do our predictions. And now both Watch Mojo and IMDb, which technically I think Watch Mojo is IMDb, but they both have lied to us. They both have lied to us in some capacity, because when we were doing our predictions last week, we saw Toy Story on here. Specifically, Jake saw Toy Story, and it said it was limited. A limited release. Jake, can you describe what ended up being the Toy Story re-release limited release?
2,300 theaters. Arguably, slightly larger than a limited re-release. So I think that, which is not the largest re-release we've seen. I believe there was something that was 2,900 theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Or am I wrong there?
I
I
think
don't.
the largest for a limited release.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around between 26 and 28. I don't know if it was right at
And
2,900.
the
I should say.
most theaters I've seen host so far, me paying attention, is actually The Conjuring has it right now at 3,800 and two. So 3,802. which is a lot of theaters. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a buttload of theaters hosting The Conjuring, and so I mean that's only 1,500 theaters off. I'm looking at like The Long Walk debuted wide release at 2,800, 500 more theaters than Toy Story, and Toy Story was limited. I mean, I know for the past week or two we've been beefing about what limited and wide releases mean, but it's like I'm arguing that it's got to be close to 1,000, and if you crack 2,000, that's a wide release.
I will say this. I looked up just now what classifies
Man.
as a limited versus a wide release. This is from Wikipedia. I just looked up. I just saw the first source, so don't shame me. I haven't had the opportunity to dig deeper. But according to Wikipedia, which is pulling from a source called EDI, more than 600 theaters is considered a wide release.
Somebody lying.
So then why is it called limited?
I think maybe from here on we can't really
Trust it.
we can't really trust the limited versus wide from Box Office Mojo.
Nope, they'd be lying.
So
Which just makes our job a whole lot more entertaining because
yeah, either we got to find another source telling me how many theaters it's going to release to, which I hate to do. I like the gambling aspect of this,
yeah.
the unknown. But that is probably one of our biggest hurdles is being lied to and then betting off of that.
It is going to
That
be
would make for a really great movie.
I cannot wait until one of us, I say this every week, but the second one of us gets it right.
Yeah,
Oh, it's going to
all five.
Oh man. Anyway,
Well, the problem is it's gonna be a perfect like storm. It's gonna be some really slow week in the box office that it's like a no brainer to
Yeah.
guess it right.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we do this for the love of the game. We are not cheating and looking at predictions or forecasts for what films will earn. We're looking at it saying, do audiences like that type of thing? And being wrong every week. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and tell you our predictions after I tell you what else happened in the box office outside the top five. Just quick notes: Weapons, Hamilton, and Freakier Friday all tumble out of the top five. Two of those, Freakier Friday and Weapons, that's the first time since their releases, and each film has been in theaters for a good while. I'll give you
6 weeks.
Yeah. Hamilton's been in. This is its second week, I think. Yeah, and for Weapons, as Jake just said, this is its sixth week. So still very successful runs for both, but they all tumble out of the top five. Now we're on to our predictions. So Jake, you start us off here. Tell us what your top five are and why.
Well, Ryan, I'm gonna start off with Ryan's. Actually, no. Ryan's top one. He's thinking Demon Slayer will stick around, which that is also kind of a rumor I read on Reddit, and that was some prior research I did to figure out if Demon Slayer was even going to stick around in theaters for another week because we've been burned before by JJK. So Ryan's putting Demon Slayer at one, which is why I chose to put the new release, Him, which is the sport thriller, sport horror sport genre movie with Marlon Wayans, Tyreek Withers, Julia Fox, and Jordan Smith. And you said it was by Jordan Peele or
He's a
directed by,
producer. His
or he's a
production
producer.
company, Monkey's Paws,
Got it.
attached.
Monkey's Paw. So I think that because Ryan thinks Demon Slayer is going to be top, I'm going to have to get a switch up on him, and I'm going to put Demon Slayer at 2 after him, and then we've got another one that's wide releasing, actually said by Box Office Mojo with the release schedule, wide releasing, big, bold, beautiful journey. I got it at 3. It's got Margot Robbie. It's got Colin Farrell, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and Hamish Linklater. I might be saying that name wrong, but I think it's got big names. I think it can pull more than and this is not a negative, but like a dying horror movie that lost 70% in its second week. I think it can pull more than The Conjuring, which is why I have The Conjuring at 4. And then, if you all will allow it, Ryan and I are begging for the ability to sub in a 6th movie for our 5th spot or for our 4th spot. Small teaser there for Ryan's. But I've got Downton Abbey at at 5 with a sub in of The Long Walk in case Downton Abbey does not decide to stick in theaters for a second week, which we also have seen that before.
Yeah.
So
It's always the TV movies that don't really stick around very long, like the TV series spin-offs or whatever. So yeah, Jake has named my number 1 and number 4. I'll go through mine really quickly and my sub in. So I've got Demon Slayer at 1, and I told Jake when I started this, when we were writing this out before we recorded, was I'm copping out because this is the most ignorant, or I'm taking the easy way out. This is the most ignorant I've been when we've done one of these, because usually there's like, even when we're super wrong, there's usually like a hint or like a, oh yeah, duh, even if we're wrong. This week's not like that. There is no major release next week. We don't even know if the major release this week's going to be there next week. So it's like, okay, I'm going to say if Demon Slayer sticks around because it made 70 million, I think they'd be dumb not to keep it in theaters. I think if it stays in theaters, I think it will do enough to stay at number 1. Him is interesting, but I've been burned by so many horror films this year thinking they'll do well that I am keeping it at 2 simply because there's nothing else. Like, I think that if a film that I don't have listed, at least not in my top 5, Big Beautiful Journey, that film could be one that upsets all of it. They finish 1 and all of us are wrong, right? That is the one to do it. But I'm not in the demographic of the audience, so who knows, don't listen to what I say. But I've not seen anything from this movie, maybe very little. So I don't know. I just don't think that it will outdo some of these films that have already come out. I really was like tempted to put it in there, but I'm taking the easy way out. I'm saying Demon Slayer 1, him will finish 2, not because it won't do well, but because I think even if Demon Slayer drops by 50% or 60%, it's still going to make 20 to 30 million. I don't think him will make that. I think him will stick in the 15, maybe at 20 if it does really well. So I think him will finish second. Conjuring, Downton Abbey, and The Long Walk finish out my top 5, and I think that those 3 will just fall down. If Downton Abbey's still there, I think that it will just continue to stick around in the area it's at. I don't think The Long Walk will make another 11.5. It might make 8. More likely than not, it will not make that, which is what makes The Big Beautiful Journey such an interesting choice, is because it's new with the big names. However, again, I've been hurt before, and not seeing any marketing for this film, or at least not any marketing is strong, but not a lot of marketing for this film, whereas the others I've seen a ton, makes me a little apprehensive. I've seen more for Margot Robbie's following film than I have for this one. And then I'm talking about Wuthering Heights versus this one. So I'm going to assume that marketing, obviously it probably reached its designated audience, and I'm just not of which. But I'm going to say that they might have done lax in the marketing, and that's why I'm going to keep it as my sub-in if one of the 2 TV movies, Demon Slayer and or Downton Abbey, if they drop out.
So we've been burned by sorry,
Re-releases?
split no, Caught Stealing, and then what was the other one with the detective, the woman?
Honey Don't from Paul
Honey
Thomas
Don't.
Anderson.
So
Yeah.
I thought that one was going to do really well. So Big Bold Beautiful Journey could definitely burn me at 3, and Ryan could be completely right, but it's a toss up here, ladies and gentlemen. We never really know. We never really know.
We have to get a siren that will just collect dust in our sound boxes for whenever someone gets it, and it's like, we did it. You just hear like
I'll have a popper on my desk just for that day.
Again, it will collect so much dust. There'll be cobwebs coming off it by the time we do that, but that'll be a fun experience. Anyway, anything else from the box office top 5 or beyond? Any of our predictions you want to talk about?
What do we got here? We got The Sound of Music 60th anniversary re-release at number 10 this week, or this past weekend. I am not seeing anything crazy or anything that's jumping out at me as something worth mentioning. There's got a lot of first weeks, but nothing I know about. No, not even from distributors I know of. But anything, Ryan? I see nothing.
I'm not really seeing anything. Again, this was more of a slow week. I think we talked about that last week. This week was going to be a little bit slower, other than Demon Slayer. You a Sound of Music fan, Jake? You like the Sound of Music?
I have not heard it. You know what's crazy? Actually, you know what's crazy? I just saw on the re-release or on the release calendar is Howl's Moving Castle on
Yeah.
Sunday.
It's Sunday though. That's a thing.
Yeah, like that's at the very. Why did they do that?
I don't know. It does say limited. I wonder if it's like one day, because Fathom Events does that where they will have like one. I don't remember what theater chain they work through, but it's like it's AMC or maybe a Cinemark where they will have like specials, like 1 day releases of like, and it's meant to like draw in like local crowds. I wonder if
Yeah,
that's what that is, because that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know, but it's starting to pee me off.
Jake, when the anime movies get very, very limited releases. Yeah.
Y'all allergic to money, huh? Favorite quote.
And on that note, my friend, we're going to end segment 1. So coming up after the break, the Ellisons target Warner Brothers, and we have another AI film endeavor on our hands. Hear about it up next. Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. I just want to point out for our audio listeners, our visual listeners could read it if they looked up and saw it. That bullet point for the second story cracks me up because that so well sums it up. I don't know if you saw it, Jake. I don't remember exactly how it started, but AI to make entire feature length film was just. We'll get to that story, but that is so funny and it's so accurate, and we'll hear about it in a little bit. But first, we're going to start in the world of Paramount. We've been with the Ellisons and Skydance or Paramount Skydance for a long time, especially this last month, I'd say, because they just keep doing stuff since they bought, officially cleared from the FCC. The Ellisons, I should say, David and his father, Larry, they purchased and merged Paramount Studios with the locally owned Skydance. They've done a lot, and we talked about it a lot, but this might be the most absurd story of all of the Ellisons' endeavors this fall. According to Deadline, the father of Paramount Skydance owner David Ellison, whose name is Larry, has had his, quote, sights on Warner, as in Warner Brothers. This seems to have even preceded him lending David a large percentage of the $8.4 billion that would fund the Paramount acquisition. So, for those who haven't seen the like national news, Elon Musk has been overthrown as the world's most wealthy individual, and it's none other than Oracle's owner and David Ellison's father, Larry Ellison. So now the richest man on the planet wants Warner Brothers. Let's talk deeper. While up until recently, it seems like Larry was only interested in the Warner Brothers studio side of the currently separating Warner Brothers Discovery. If you remember from a few months ago, the huge news was that Discovery and Warner Brothers were officially in a divorce, going to separate into two different factions, two different studios. They're breaking up all their IPs, all their outlets. And a lot of that comes down to debt problems and overpaying Zaslav and financial struggles in terms of not returning profits in the box office this year, of which is a turnaround for them, as we've talked in weeks previous. They've had 7 straight films debut #1 with 40 million or more this year alone. So they're having a better year and they're breaking up. And we'll talk more about that breakup in a second. But up until this point, it seems like Ellison only wanted the Warner Brothers side, which is the legacy brand. Now, however, the bid currently being explored seems to want the entirety of the company as is right now. Speaking with someone close to the situation, Deadline reports, quote, Ellison has been looking at Warner Brothers for a while. Nothing new there. He's just taking a closer look, assessing the pros and cons. While this news broke, current Warner Brothers head David Zaslav emphasized that the separation of Warner and Discovery would continue and be finalized this upcoming April. A common thought held by many who read this headline is that the government, with its anti-monopoly restrictions, would potentially limit such a purpose, right? Skydance buys Paramount. Now all of a sudden you have another legacy brand. However, according to Deadline, because Warner Brothers Discovery doesn't hold any licenses in broadcasting like Paramount did, despite owning CNN, this potential purchase by the Ellisons would, quote, likely not have to clear the FCC or the Federal Communications Commission. In another article from Deadline, they would continue this potential purchase, or they would just compare this potential purchase, to that of Disney purchasing 20th Century Fox in recent years. pointing out the similarities between the two, such as the unification of two legacy brands, think Disney and 20th Century Studios, and now what would be Warner Brothers and Paramount, the bringing together of two major TV studios, which again, for Disney was 20th Century Studios, or TV studios, and ABC. Warner Brothers would be uniting with the CBS brand of TV studios, and the sheer amount of IP both studios would or have merged, right? So again, with Disney, you had Marvel, you brought in the Fantastic Four. They're going to bring in the X-Men. You have the FX series of channels. You have Aliens. You have all that. And now Paramount would potentially, with its lineup, be bringing in DC, HBO Max, and more. We could go deeper into the similarities, right? I just think it's important to note those two things because when you look at it, something like this has happened before. And it doesn't have to clear FCC, likely doesn't have to clear FCC. So those are important notes when we're looking at the big picture of the Ellisons potentially trying to buy another legacy studio. So what would a merger mean for both Paramount and Warner Brothers? But let's continue that, right? Let's go deeper. Should a purchase like this by these potential buyers be something that happens in the first place?
Uh, I don't mind that it's happening. Ryan gets all bent out of shape when someone starts throwing cash at other companies and say, "I'll buy you." I don't mind it as much as I pray and hope my established IPs now don't get screwed up. I can be mad and I can be distasteful of the purchase from IPs in the future being crappy and remembering the good old days from Warner Bros. But right now, I think they're in a good spot as we've seen this year from not only movies but also HBO Max offerings. And I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping the acquisition doesn't mess up what we got going right now. I want to live in the moment. I want to say that like it better not touch Batman 2. It better not touch like Peacemaker or like it's not going to. I think Peacemaker's pretty much already done, but we're talking like the new Superman movie. We're talking about Supergirl. It's all these IPs and the foundations and the roadmap that we've seen. It's and the people directing them and just when you go through an acquisition, there's bound to be somebody else in the room in conversations, especially for things that have not taken place yet. And so, crossing my fingers, whoever's in the room backs what was already there and or contributes positively to them. But I I can only cross my fingers and hope because I haven't necessarily seen anything negative come from Paramount acquisitions just yet. They're still kind of like waiting around, um, and I've yet to see anything big come out of them.
Well, they're too early to tell whether or not it's going to be good or bad, right? Like all we've heard from them is that World War Z is in their big media and their big IPs, and that they've
Well,
got the Duffer Brothers and they've got whoever else, right? They're trying to get Legend, or they struck a deal with Legendary, who's made like the Godzilla movies and stuff, right? So like, yeah,
but like I said,
no. And the thing is, if you think
we've
about
not seen anything.
no, if it were just content, if this were still just Warner Brothers, I would be like, you know what, whatever. Because the thing is, when you think about it, right, that is enough money to let James Gunn do whatever he wants in the DCU, right? That's enough money to buy whatever talent you want to make however good movie you want, right? So it's like if it were just that, this now unifies. Like think about from like a sports perspective, CBS Sports and TNT Sports. They would unify. They would have the same like parent company. So now you have a conglomerate that could compete with NBC, with ESPN and Disney and ABC and all these different, right? So, and Amazon and Netflix is trying to get in the game. And so blah, 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 blah. So it's like that from that perspective, it's like, okay, like I don't necessarily want that because I'm all for different perspectives. If Warner Brothers and Paramount are both owned by the same person, that limits who can create where because you have one person telling a lot of different people what they can do. That's where that is the first of, I should say, of where my big differences come in. But the bigger problem that I have is that if that happens, now this is still a bid, a potential bid. This is nowhere near that this was bid, that this is happening. In fact, there are rumors from what I've read just online. There's nothing to substantiate this. I don't even know if this is true. But from what I've read, Zaslav is going to do everything he can to not allow this to happen. He's like, no, I do not want this. However, if this does happen,
You think he'll be booted?
oh yeah, kicked out instantly.
Yeah.
They would fire him in a
Yeah.
heartbeat. The thing is, my big thing, CNN and CBS News would be owned by the same body. That's where it gets scary, because something we didn't talk about on this is Tegna and Nexstar, which are two other huge media conglomerates. They merged. And it's going to be until we won't know until next year if that's approved. But if it is approved, that's 70% of the markets, of the major markets of news, under one umbrella. It's the same thing for me. It's like, that's scary, because the less not just creative minds, but the less perspective you have and the more singular trains of thought you have telling you what is correct and what isn't, that's when bad things happen, right? Like, that's, you need that independent, not just journalism, but that independent news source. You need these different trains of thoughts. The reason CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC News, Fox News, like, the reason why it's so, like, it's good to have all these different perspectives is because exactly that. You get to hear what other people are thinking. When you limit who owns that, when you limit whose trains of thought, right? That's when things get bad, because instead of getting told what's happening, you get told what you should think. And that, from a news perspective, is where I get worried, because, again, and I don't know where like they lie politically, or where they lie politically, and I don't really care, but it's scary. That's like, the point is, I'm not making a point right versus left. I'm making a point when you have one viewpoint telling multiple major news stations what to think, that's a problem. So that's where I get scared. Again, if this was just what you were talking about, where it was just the creative side of things and it was just focused on the DC, just focused on even the sports, are you kidding me? I would love the wealthiest man in the world to have like just a pocketbook blank check to sports entities. Yes, of course. Like keep revolutionizing how sports broadcasting is done. I was a production assistant for ESPN Sports for a local university for 2.5 years. Like, that's cool. I want to see that. But it's beyond that where my worries go. It's like, okay, more and more individual bodies are buying up more and more local markets, and that is awful. That is terrifying.
Well, we're coming back. We're coming back around to Dish Network and DirecTV.
Yeah.
It's like, those are your two.
Yep.
You got Paramount and you got Disney.
Yep.
Suck it up. Pick one.
And that's where,
or both.
That's where I don't.
You can now have both.
Yeah. Again, if it were just creative and if it were just entertainment, I'd be like, okay. But there's so much news involved with it. Two of the biggest news outlets are CBS and CNN.
And Fox.
Well, Fox. And so right now, if that happens, there would be 3, but there's 4 right now. I guess technically 5, because you have NBC, Disney and ABC, CNN and Turner, which is HBO and like Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers owns Turner. And then you have CBS, which is owned by Skydance Paramount, or Paramount Skydance, sorry. And I am missing one. I forget which one I'm missing. But the point still stands. There's one, Fox News, which is owned by Fox. So anyway.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts, Jake.
I'm trying to think about. I don't know what I'm trying to think about. I don't watch a lot of news. I do read some articles that pop up my phone, but from whatever article at one time. I just get a notification when somebody gets shot or dies, famous celebrity, and then it's like, oh, moving on. I don't watch a lot of the news just because it's not something that it's like, oh no, the world's on fire.
Yeah.
What's new?
No, so we are distinctly and uniquely in a position to where we have a degree in media, right? Like, so like we have the, like, not just the education, because that's a really ignorant way to put that and kind of a pompous way to put that, but we have the training. Like we went through the same classes, me and you, Jake, and Emily behind the screen. We all went through the same classes with the same professors.
We all paid good money to be told how to think.
Well, not just that, but to have an eye on these things. And the best perspective that I always got, and this goes back to what I'm saying, does not matter where you lie, get your news from multiple sources. Do not subscribe to one. Don't just go to the New York Times. Don't go to the Wall Street Journal. Don't just go there. If you don't want to pay for them, go to multiple places, right? Like local, national, whatever. Get your news from different places, because it's always going to be somewhere in the middle. And I think that is the best perspective and the best advice I ever got on me getting news. And again, back to the point, when you limit who's telling you the news.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that.
I get my news from The Onion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, my sweet, sweet, precious child. I love the
yeah.
Onion.
Everything that they're coming out with is actually a whole lot more tame.
Remember, who was it they tried to buy? It was Infowars.
Ha, that'd be funny.
Do you remember that they tried to buy
I don't
Infowars
remember
and a
that.
federal judge was like, no. And
Why
anyway,
not?
that's a whole that's a whole rabbit hole. We're gonna move on past this
Yep.
story. We got one more in this second segment. OpenAI is backing London-based Vertigo Films and LA's Native Foreign to create Critters, an animated feature made it completely with AI tools. So strap in. We talk a lot about AI, but we're following this trend very closely, especially with us at our age, because it impacts us very deeply. But as first broken by the Wall Street Journal, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is reportedly dead set to prove to Hollywood executives that generative artificial intelligence can not only produce full narratives, but drive results in the box office. Again, the AI firm is, quote, throwing their weight, and that's from The Verge. Somewhat like they're a media outlet. We don't use them a lot, but they are a substantial media outlet. They are, quote, throwing their weight behind an animated film titled Critters. This is based off of a short film from 2023 of the same name, in which creators took a satirical take on the nature documentary genre. OpenAI will strictly be providing technology to the film's efforts, not funding. That was very explicitly stated. They are not putting money in this, only the AI technology to make the film a feature. Moving on, Nick Klaverov, who operates as the chief creative officer for Native Foreign States, quote, there's been a lot of dabbling, but this shows a commitment from a large AI tool provider that this is possible. By saying that we are embarking on this, I think it can hopefully open the door for more AI projects to also come out, and we can hopefully see a wave of new great storytelling. Critters is being made in 9 months on a $30 million budget with a 24-man team, all fractions compared to what traditional animation teams require, from funding to manpower to timeline. This team also includes writers from Paddington in Peru, which was, I think, last year or early this year. Again, moving on. According to the LA Times, human animators will draw out the characters to a certain extent. These drawings will then feed the AI algorithm, which will read each drawings as storyboards and then turn them into frames. The film is set to hit next year's Cannes Film Festival and to then make a splash in the global box office. The LA Times makes a good point in drawing comparison to Pixar's creation of Toy Story, which is ironic that Toy Story did as well as it did this week with this. But again, LA Times is like, look at Toy Story and what Pixar did, in which they ushered in the use of computer animation at the box office forever with that film. Could OpenAI and Critters be the Toy Story for AI as a creative vehicle for feature films?
Yeah. Uh, I
Are we to
I
that
don't think
point,
it's
Jake?
gonna.
Are we to that point?
No, it looks like garbage, man. It's not there yet. Like, I think the best, and it wasn't OpenAI who did it, but the best video I've seen is probably the Sasquatches that's been going on, and they're
Oh,
still
that's
rough.
Google. That's Google, right?
It's Google's.
Yeah.
It's Google's VO3,
VO.
and I'm very surprised that they went with OpenAI's, because everything I get from OpenAI and everything that I see from it is just very it's too smooth, man. It's just too smooth. There's not enough contrast and texture, and even in the images we showed you guys, it's you just tell, man. It's not like Toy Story animation with the level of detail. Like it's the character they drew, and it's just junk around it. Just everything's like the clarity's been turned down. If you know anything about editing photos, there's
It's like
usually a
texture.
setting called clarity that you can turn down, and it just blurs everything. Or you can turn it up, and it just makes every single border like hyper big, and you it just texturizes everything, but like really badly. This is like clarity turned all the way down.
Yeah.
To me, it looks blurry and way too smooth to be. And I'm not saying that an animation needs to be real life, but I like Toy Story. You look at it, I mean, you don't have like individual hairs, which we've seen in other animation. Like I think uh
Brave.
Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. was, well, yeah, Brave is a newer one compared, but Monsters Inc. Sully's hair took months, if not years, to animate, and that was computer as well,
Render. Yeah.
to render. And so I don't think we're there yet. This AI movie, if it hits box office, number one, I think people are going to boycott it. And number two, I think it's going to look like crap.
No,
But
yeah. And I asked the question not to insinuate that I think it will or that it could, but the fact that
yeah,
we have major media outlets comparing it to Pixar and Toy Story, I think is telling of what people think.
yeah, give it another year or two. I think they're just jumping the gun on this. I think in a year or two, either Google's AI or another one that I don't know of, because I know several of my colleagues who do freelance or work another job, and they're doing amazing stuff with AI video, and they're not using either.
Yeah.
And so they're using something completely different, which I don't know what it's based off of. I don't know if it's a Google derivative or an OpenAI derivative, but um, yeah, I honestly, I've used ChatGPT for a long time. It feels like now, for probably almost a year, and I can't believe they're getting frames and like as nitty gritty stuff as they're claiming to be getting um, to make
Yeah.
this movie. Because the variations in the stuff that I'm churning out with a paid subscription. Now I'm not like paying $100 a month like their top tier subscription is, but I there's too much variation with the with the plan I'm on. So hopefully, whatever AI or OpenAI is offering them, not money, but giving them the technology, is some unreleased
Yeah.
version, because what they've got right now available to the public is not touching, number one, I think, Google to begin with. I don't think it touches Google, and I don't even think they have a video option. I don't even think
Chat,
OpenAI can generate video right
not
now on
externally,
them.
but you'd
Yeah.
think that they'd have to, right?
Well, apparently they have it either unreleased or maybe it's in the higher plan and I just don't know about it. But
Yeah.
I was unaware that OpenAI had a video segment. So
I
whatever. I'm out of my element here. I know nothing about OpenAI's ability to render to create video from drawings. So
You know what this feels like to me, and I wonder how much this has to connect. In the previous weeks, we've talked about two major AI in film cases, right? One being the Orson Welles sequel or follow up to Citizen Kane. It's the Magnificent Ambersons. That
yeah.
one's getting a remake from an AI company backed by, was that Amazon? And then following that,
Which with no AI model mentioned.
no, no, no. They did not have an AI model mentioned, but they were using a guy's work that he had done for the past. Brian Rose was his name. The last 5 years, 30,000 frames or shots from the script, from set photos, and now they're feeding
Yeah.
that into it, some unnamed algorithm that will potentially feed and create a reconstructed version of the Magnificent Ambersons, right? Then following that, this one I think is Amazon for a fact, but the first one could have also been Amazon. But last week we talked about we had showrunner popping out, and it's a Discord add-on for some reason that puts people in positions to type in prompts and get 15 to 20 minute shows out of it. And now you have that, right? So, or maybe that those are the same story.
I thought that was the
I
same
might be
story.
conflating two stories. Yeah, it is one story.
They were
Sorry.
utilizing that
Showrunner to
to
do,
do.
yes, sorry. You
Yeah.
have that, and then I mean it's just like it's just constant, right? Like you have these things. Maybe what if, and the next story we're talking about also has to do with AI, but in a different facet. I wonder if OpenAI looks around and they see VO, right? They see Google and they see the talking Yetis and they see Showrunner and Amazon and they see all these things happening and they're like, oh God. Like we are behind. Because they've not been.
Or they're holding their cards close and they're about to drop one of the biggest, mind blowing, because they were first to market and then they were like, okay, we're gonna be hush hush,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna uh, slam down a ace high straight or something.
That
And
it's one of the two, because this is way too, like, all of a sudden for it to it's either A, what I was describing and it's just they feel behind, or B, they have had something for a while
yeah,
and they're now publicizing it because they're like, oh, don't forget about us.
yeah. I don't know. This movie's got to be pretty darn good. I mean, it better be like that Beaver movie level quality. What
Yeah,
was it called where she swaps her mind into I've lost it
I
now,
don't
but
remember.
like if it ain't that, I don't think it has a leg to stand on.
Let me look. I'll tell you. Hold on. Disney Beaver movie. It's called. Hold on. I'll find it. It's called.
Disney Beaver movie.
Is it Hoppers?
Open season. Yes, it's Hoppers.
Someone called Smarty Pants on YouTube created a video about Hoppers saying Hoppers is basically Beaver Avatar, and I'm here for it. I,
Well, he's not
I
wrong,
didn't think
dude. That's actually
I
crazy.
didn't think about it like that.
Watch watch Hoppers in the lens of Avatar and see how similar it is.
That's
That's
funny. Yeah,
crazy.
that's hilarious. Anyway, go. That's
Wow.
off topic here, but yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. And the thing is, it's scary from a perspective of creators. All three of us here in this studio session right now are creators, and those who are watching are probably also creators or like enjoy creators of some sort. It's scary, but at the same time, it's like technology is moving so fast. Like you have to be caught up some way, or at least know. Like it's that this is where it gets terrifying, and that's why we continuously talk about it. It's because it's like, how can you not? It's like, how can you not be seeing this as a creative?
The bare minimum that you should be doing is being educated on this topic.
I
I,
keep going, but I think I remember seeing a headline
so
earlier.
I I walk a fine line of utilizing AI and all of its facets to better my craft in any way, shape, or form. If it saves me time, if it ups my quality, if it helps me brainstorm in any way that I can think of, automating a task or things like that. I'm researching how to do it, and is there anything in there? I Like I said, there are times where either I'm making a flyer for work or something like that that I'm like, okay, let's see how OpenAI or Nano Banana through Google, like let's see how good it is, and I'll have it generate. Um, so I work at a heavy equipment dealership, and so I'll have it generate an image of an excavator. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
let's see it. Let's see what you can do. I usually test it about every month or every 3 months, and I was like, all right, let's see it. What you got this month, and it almost always never does the labels correctly. So brand name on the side of the excavator or the model name. And I was like, all right, you failed. I mean, because I would have to go in and do it myself and erase that. And at that point, and it's obviously way too smooth. It's almost always way too smooth and just looks like you generated. It looks like a toy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm almost always better off going out and taking a photo of the actual thing. And I understand that many people would argue that it's like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? Well, I may not be a good photographer. It may be raining outside that day. I may need to get the flyer done the next hour. Like, there's all the different variables that you can argue here. And it's just like at the end of the day, right now, image generation as well as video is still that far away. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
say it's this close, but like it's getting there. And I always say give it another year or two. Give it another year or two, and we might not be able to tell images. And I think video, it's going to be kind of where it is now with images. I think video is still going to take some time.
Well, think about it
Um,
too. Is like to hit really close to home for us in our work. Let's say video editors like DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere
yeah,
Pro, they have AI integration already.
yeah, they're already kind of creating scenes or creating frames within your shots to. So, say you have crappy frame rate or you're trying to slow something down that's can't really be slowed down anymore, and it has to create frames from thin air. There are AIs already in place doing that,
Extending
creating,
footage
yeah, extending footage by a few frames or even a
seconds.
second, um, which is amazing. And why I will tailor it back to, if you aren't reading up on it and learning how to use these tools. So yes, bare minimum, knowing about them and tying this into film, knowing about everything that's going on in film. And then I would say secondfold, if you aren't trying to utilize the tools, you're probably going to lose your job.
Yeah, in
I'm,
five
I, I,
years.
I'm a firm believer in that. If you are completely shut my ears to anything AI, I don't think number one, you're going to be able to survive in the world, and then number two, not utilizing. If you're open ears but not utilizing it, you'll lose your job.
Which is what's so
I
scary is that it's like
it is.
it's like a whole new thing and it's sweeping. But it's like going back to like, I mean, we're not here to be like super just all AI is all positive
No,
because yes,
yeah,
yes, it is
yeah.
definitely taking people's jobs. But yeah, I to go back to the point of how relevant this is in what I had looked up, I knew I saw this from somewhere and I looked it up and I didn't get anything back originally. And I was like, I know I saw this. The Kentucky Colonel, which we're both from the state of Kentucky, all three of us are. And we were all in media, so we know like the major independent student newspapers at each university, right? The Kentucky Colonel is the University of Kentucky's independent student newspaper. They're practicing journalists or students who are practicing to be journalists, that sort of thing. And they all do some good work, regardless of which institution. However, the Kentucky Colonel put out a news release 3 days ago that said UK will be the first Kentucky university with AI major, saying that this week, the Board of Trustees at UK this was last week, sorry, on Friday, September 12th, approved for in the College of Engineering to have a major dedicated to AI.
In what capacity? Creating
the
coding?
AI program will provide students with, quote, in-depth knowledge of foundational and skills for building, evaluating, and using AI systems.
Yeah, okay.
Set up
I gotcha.
as 10 modules that progressively build skills, foundational awareness to advanced applications.
Yeah, that's I would argue that that's a higher level than anybody would necessarily use in their day to day. That's like building models and or
Yes, but
utilizing them in massive workflows.
of course, but let's take that and to
Like
put that
building
here.
apps.
Let's put that here,
Yes.
though. Yeah, like that's how you get the systems and softwares to do what we're talking about. And to
Yeah.
further progress, you get these types of people who build the apps and the softwares and the foundation. But
Yeah.
I going back to the whole reason again, we're making a big deal out of it, but like AI in film is not just here to stay, it's here to stay in the real world, and that's where we're headed. And that's what we're talking about here. But anyway, I think that is a good stopping point. Jake, do you have any final thoughts on specifically OpenAI and their in critters?
Time will tell, but I'm spelling its doom. I think there's going to be not an uprising, but there's going to be a level of boycott. People are going to hate on this movie. I think it's inevitable, especially if they plan to take it global box office, not just film festival. I think as soon as it hits like TikTok and all the social medias are going to be like, heck no, everybody's going to freak out. And then I still don't think it's going to be that good. Like no matter how many people don't want it and boycott it, they're not necessarily going to be wrong in the fact that it looks like crap. I am going to take that stance now. Number one, because of just the images I've seen so far, I might change my mind. We'll see if I get a trailer. Trailers usually help me a whole lot actually seeing, but I will be double negative here and say people will not like it for the plain and simple reason of how it was made, and I will not like it because of how it will look.
Yeah. And I think that is a fantastic jumping off point into our third segment. So, coming up after the break, the Spheres, the Wizard of Oz attraction hits big with audiences. We have new trailers and what you should know before you go. We'll see you in just a second. Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 3, which is we wrap things up, we tell you the last bit of major news from this past week, and we get you what probably didn't need a huge section, but you at least should have heard about it or should know about it and get a little bit of deeper discussion and trailers. As always, when I get to this segment, I always just give thanks just for being here. We're at over an hour, close to an hour and 10 minutes of just pure recording. We record it like it's live, so if you're at our point, we're all at the same level here. But anyway, we really thank you for being here. We thank you for not only allowing us to just yap, but also just for supporting us in our goals. We love doing this. We love being creative. We love trying to foster not only a fun culture and fun audience, but also just like a welcoming place where we can talk about movies, right? So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us to do this. And just like, subscribe, comment, do your thing, share it with whoever and wherever. What family member we hitting this week, Jake? We've talked aunts, uncles, cousins.
Grunkle,
Grunkle.
like Grunkle Stan.
Hit your great uncle with specifically if his name's Stan. Grunkle
Yeah,
of any kind, but
Stanley.
specifically Grunkle Stanley, will really like this podcast. But in all seriousness, though, we love you. Thank you so much for being here, and your support is just appreciation is not the correct word, but we really love you guys. So thank you, and we'll go ahead and get on with the final segment of Beyond the Screen of September 15th. Anyway, segment 3, The Sphere. I mean, we haven't talked about that one before on the show. Originally made to be Las Vegas's ultimate music venue, reportedly hits big with its showing of The Wizard of Oz, earning around $2 million a day since showing began last month. In an article by USA Today, that $2 million number was taken from a report published by an investment research firm named Wolf Research. This experience, titled The Wizard of Oz at Sphere, is described in the article as, quote, an interactive experience that makes customers feel like they're in the 1939 classic film of the same name. The attraction uses its 160,000-foot screen to put audiences in the shoes of the classic film's main characters, using sight, smell, and touch in their screening. So think like 4D, those old attractions at whatever theme park near you when they had 4D screenings. Apparently, this was similar to that. The kicker: to fill in the 160,000 feet of the massive screen, the attraction utilizes, you guessed it, AI to upscale the original film due to smaller frames, as not only was the 1939 original shot on pure film, but it was also shot in a 4/3 aspect ratio, which was the film standard at the time, which today we're 16:9, so much, much bigger. The company behind the site also spent nearly $100 million to re-image, and that's again in air quotes for our audio listeners, to re-image the film. This included cutting nearly 20 minutes along with the AI upscaling. Since opening in the fall of 2023, the Sphere has struggled to turn a profit, leaning on concerts and musical residencies to try and make cash. This cinematic experience, however, seems to be the shot in the arm CEO James Dolan and company needed, as tickets for this experience start at $104 per.
Dang.
Yeah. Wolf Research expects the site to earn $500 million over the upcoming year, making the Sphere, quote, the world's most profitable venue, according to The Hollywood Reporter. As of right now, Bloomberg reports via The Hollywood Reporter that Dolan has had preliminary conversations with Warner Brothers and Disney about having similar experiences at the location, with titles like Harry Potter and Star Wars up for negotiation. In an age of vertical video and the stereotypical shrinking attention spans, are audiences like these, or experiences like these, I should say, the next evolution in the movie-going experience? So instead of just come to your traditional movie theater, it's look at this spectacle.
Instead of IMAX,
Yeah.
come see the Sphere.
Yeah.
Ugh. I don't think so, man, because it's like sitting in the front row, even if you're in the back row.
Can you imagine? Like you're sitting there, like you're like, let's go watch this movie, and you're just like the whole time, just
What am I looking at, man? Dude, I mean, so they are upscaling. So I'm imagining Wizard of Oz, and I specifically go to the tornado scene where the house is flying around. You just see a bunch of stuff floating around. I mean, granted, most of the stuff's going to be in front of you. I guess most of the most important things are going to be still within that 4:3 dimensions, because that's how it was told. When you upscale, you're pretty much just doing everything around it. So it might be interesting actually not to watch the middle and see what else gets thrown in there. Like, is AI smart enough to not put a period accurate, or is it smart enough to put a period accurate dumpster in rather than like a normal New York dumpster? You know, you just look over your shoulder over here. That doesn't really matter, and it's just like a very real depiction of.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, we're getting into like, is AI algorithm smart enough to be like time period?
Yeah, I guess
But
so.
also, again, 20 minutes was removed to make it more, I guess, like it to fit the venue. There were also some weird nuances with how this was created. I name dropped a guy named James Dolan, who is I think he's a billionaire. I know that man, not personally, but I know that man deep within my heart, because I'm a Chicago Bulls fan of the NBA. James Dolan is the owner of the New York Knicks. So the same guy that owns one of the most legendary sports franchises in all, he also like helped maintain the Madison Square Garden in New York, which is its most famous like venue. So he's the CEO of the Sphere. Apparently, the Wizard of Oz was like a pet project of his. He had like this burning passion to bring the Sphere or the Wizard of Oz to the Sphere for whatever reason. And not only that, he put him and some other billionaire in like as an Easter egg using AI in the attraction. So you could, if you find him, there's like a segment where you see him and someone else just standing there. So yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know.
It's probably in the Emerald City.
More than likely, where there's a bunch of people, and the way he put it out was like, if you can find us, ha ha ha, and everyone was like, okay, James, because James Dolan is like, he for a long time was considered one of the worst owners in all of sports, and so he like no one really takes James Dolan very seriously, at least not in the realm of sports. But it's a weird cross seeing his name pop up in something random like this, and then it's like James Dolan, and then right after that, the Hollywood Reporter's like, yeah, the owner of the New York Knicks, and I'm like, Anyway, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, like OpenAI, and we talked about showrunner, and we talked about like the Magnificent Ambersons. It's like all those I have a lot of apprehension. It's like specifically with like Orson Welles and the Magnificent Ambersons. I'm like, leave it alone. Like I don't think there's a need for this. There's a reason you didn't contact Warner Brothers, because you knew you weren't going to get permission to make the film, and you knew it was going to be like it's almost like, did they even contact the Wells estate to ask his current living family if that's something they wanted? Because I guarantee it's no if they did ask. So it's like, okay, and then same thing with
those darn estates.
Yeah, those darn estates always get in the way of stuff. But then it's like with OpenAI, it's like it's kind of like what you said. It's like, are we too early? Is it even worth investing in? And especially with like the big thing I didn't talk about in the last segment was like the thing that got me of the big negatives is, think about the size of the team that's working on it. That is hundreds of people, if not more, who are jobless because of that. If that is mainstream, if that is how animated features are made now, dozens, tens, or hundreds of people are jobless because you went with AI and a couple dozen workers versus a couple hundred, right? So that's like a big deal. This, however, I actually don't mind. I actually think this is kind of cool and a new way to reimagine on a big spectacle and a big event like these films that you love. Like I'm looking now, and I can't share it right now, but like I'm looking at what the tornado looks like. That's why I said, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, is because in the Sphere, when you're sitting in that seat in that 160,000 foot like massive screen, that looks terrifying. And it's like, that would be like something that would just be cool to like partake in. It's something different. And the thing I like most is it's called an attraction.
Yeah.
It's not like a movie going experience. The whole point is because it's like a ride. So that, like, if with that, it's so different that it's like I can get behind this. Like I think I can value and see the value in that. Can you imagine Star Wars, the dog fights in something like that?
Well, that's what I was about to say with the Sphere. I think there's the POV heavy movies. So think F1, think the new Starfighter movie, hopefully, but fall back to Top Gun, Maverick. The ones that are heavily shot in cockpits and driver seats. Why are we not seeing those put in the Sphere? Or maybe we are, and I'm completely ignorant to it. But like what you're saying with Star Wars, like that's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's little to no, I would argue little to no upscaling from 16:9 comparatively to 4:3. I mean, 4:3 is like a square,
Yeah.
and you're trying to make that 160 something thousand.
Yeah. It's got to be
So
so much easier doing modern films too. Like, because
yeah,
the thing is,
well,
when did 16:9 become modern? Was that like the 50s or the 60s? Because Star Wars is 16:9.
uh, I have no idea. I have been seeing some monitors come out as like 21:9, and so I'm wondering if they're trying to stretch the norm again.
Oh, make it
But
bigger again.
I guess, I mean,
Early. Oh, well, you know
which
what? I was wrong. Apparently, 16:9 didn't become universal film standard. Instead, it became a global standard for television and computer monitors in the early 2000s. That doesn't seem
ah,
right. That does not seem right.
well, granted, I do. Oh, what was I watching that was still 4:3? Antiques Roadshow, which was arguably could have been in the 90s, still 4.3. There's some animes, some earlier like 90s animes, still 4.3. So,
Our cinema
um,
history professor he's like rolling his eyes at us if he ever sees this. He's like, how dare you not remember? I'm sorry.
hey bud, I grew up in 16:9.
Yeah, the
I
width.
only ever
So
remember.
I went to widescreen.org,
Okay.
and it's a brief history of the widescreen format. For example, hold on, I'm looking for it. Modern TVs. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. The aspect ratio of television from the 60s until the early 2010s were 4/3 or 133 to 1. 1.33 to 1. That just doesn't seem right. All right. Well, then I guess Star Wars isn't 16:9 then. That just doesn't seem right.
Was Star Wars 4.3?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Star Wars was filmed in 1978 or 77, I guess. So, would it be shot in the again, this is airing what the AI overview said.
Well, this is TV. TV switched to 16:9, not
I looked up
theaters.
film standard and it popped up that. So the reason that it switched in the early 2000s to 16:9 was because of computers and television. But like when did like cinema?
Did you say what Star Wars was shot in? Sorry.
No, not yet. I was asking.
2.35 to 1.
Okay.
We're going off on a little tangent here, folks.
Wait, sorry. This is such a niche audience that would enjoy this conversation. But
anamorphic lenses helped a lot here.
Yeah.
They were, and that was something I saw on a recent short film someone sent me as like, it was a reel on socials, and I never got to see it actually in person. Ryan did though. He traveled and went and watched the what is it, the debut or whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw a reel of the trailer, and it was very skinny, very long.
Yeah.
And I sent it to the person I know who worked on it, and I was like, "Why is it so skinny? Why is it so?" And she said, "It might be because they used an anamorphic lens,
Yeah.
and which made it likely could be 21:9."
Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah.
Long and skinny.
That's like ultra extra like wide. That's not just widescreen. That's like ultra wide.
So, is the Sphere the new IMAX, Ryan?
I doubt it, because the thing is that like the point of IMAX is that like IMAX is coming to you. Like you can't like put in like what
Sphere.
Are you going to put in a Sphere? And can you imagine
every major city
has a Sphere? Oh my goodness. Nah.
Yeah.
I think I would, if I ever have the money to where I could say, let's go to Vegas, and I could buy $100 worth of like per ticket. So it'd be at least $200 or $300 depending on how many people went with me. I would love to just experience it once just to see what it's like, because I guarantee it's pretty cool. But yeah, I would be interested to see, because you're right. The reason we went off on the tangent of aspect ratios is because it has to be easier to do these newer films where the cockpit and like the POV style is super cool. And like in theaters, it gets your blood pumping. Imagine it on a 160,000 foot screen that's labeled as an attraction with 4D.
Sorry, I am actively figuring out how much money it would be to get to Las Vegas and back. And also watch a movie.
We could do a red eye. We could take a red eye flight at like 3 a.m.
Not to like, so we are in Kentucky, but the biggest airport, I guess, that would be remotely close to, and I'm talking about big guy, would be Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And that would go straight to Las Vegas for $219 and would be there for 4 days, round trip, 219, and then $100 a ticket,
so
which would be
300.
So, but that's 200 each. That's 220 each, plus $100 each. That's $300.
But add on room
each.
and board,
That's $600.
and food.
Hey, we can find a spot to crash. We'll get a rent a car. That'll be another few $100. Sleep in it.
I'm not going to expose myself here, but we have to be a certain age, and I don't hit that until later this year.
Hey, when does this come out? When's this
I
come
mean, it's
out?
out now.
Anyway,
Technically,
it's
a
sub
residency.
1,000.
If I don't want to spend $1,000,
I would argue that it could be sub 750.
maybe I don't know. But the point is,
But that's combined. That's not total for both. That's combined.
so it's like $350 per or something like that.
I think so.
Maybe it might be worth looking into, I guess. But the point is,
Not really.
this just seems like this would be such a cool endeavor one day to go and do. I would be so down. Starting in December,
One day is not a day of the week, Ryan.
yeah. Apparently, late this year, a residency of the Backstreet Boys will take place at the Sphere until like March. So I'm sure some of those days will probably get swapped out for a showing of the Sphere because people are paying for it. But who knows?
And that's just United pricing. We're not even talking about Spirit.
For our audio listeners, Jake is celebrating his rage bait.
$44 from Chicago to Las Vegas.
I just would want to stay in Chicago, dude. Like I
maybe they'll have a Sphere by the time we get there.
Yeah. Anyway, are you ready to go on to trailers?
I am.
We've exhausted our AI speech for the day. Now we're going to get into substantial filmmaking at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. We got 4 trailers to go over with you. Some of them teasers, others not. We have the teaser for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Then we go on to season 4 of The Witcher, which I'm going to spoil it for you guys, I think. Then we have Kristy starring Sydney Sweeney. And lastly, we have Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere's full trailer. So we'll start with the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. What do we think?
I think it actually, like, the animation wise looks pretty good. Like, that's exactly how I think it would look if I was in like the 2D running across the Super Mario Bros. Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm talking about. But just as far as looks wise, like if I was in that game, that's what I think it would look like.
It looks stunning. It looks really just from the teaser, it looks really, I mean, the first one looked really good. So it's like I'm just from an aesthetic standpoint, I'm happy to see that they retain that, because there's like a level of quality that you hope that when a successful film at that, with which the first one was, you'd hope that they would keep a level of quality when they go into the sequel, and they seem to have. So I am not an
Emily says boring.
We don't have any story. There's nothing to be boring about. We just got a little bit. We just got a taste.
She wants me to say it like she said it, which is boring.
I don't know. I just feel like we haven't seen enough of the story. The first one, I don't know. Anyway, I am not a Nintendo kid, so I didn't grow up playing Nintendo. I grew up playing PlayStation. So,
this guy.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Sony, baby. I did have a Wii.
Xbox.
But
see how the different console guys turn out.
I'm very yellow today, so I don't know if that's what you mean.
No. No. No, I'm just saying Xbox versus PlayStation. Can you tell the difference?
Oh, bright versus the dark. Yeah, I understand.
Well, no, I'm not necessarily talking about what we're wearing, right? I just think the personalities just plead through.
Oh, I did end up, like, when I got a little older, I played Halo. But the point is,
Nintendo sues people for
everything.
Wait, aren't they?
Yeah, Power World or Power World.
Power World,
yeah.
Dude. They just copyrighted. So Nintendo just copyrighted the idea that capturing animals to fight other animals, something like that.
Like to raise animals not from the dead, but like to like essentially to like summon another creature to fight for you is like copywritten.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that like spells a whole different world of like so many different IPs already
Like
do that.
Digimon and like I
Well,
don't.
yeah, I mean, outside of that, there was some crazy ones that I was seeing like on a list. It was IPs that you wouldn't think about being that, but
Yeah.
I can't remember. There's some like certain movies do it and other things. Like, how do you copyright a concept like that?
Well, it goes back to was it Warner Brothers when they copy what game mechanic is it where they have
The Nemesis system.
Nemesis system? How do you copyright something like that? But they did.
Well, I would argue that that's a little bit different than a concept of
But yeah, yes, the
fighting
system.
animals.
But the concept of like an adapting and evolving or not AI, but like NPC system, right? Like that no one
Yeah.
can do anything like that.
I still think it's a tad different than just the concept of animals fighting each other.
More apples to oranges. But yeah,
I think the fighting each other is too broad. I
yeah.
think the Nemesis system is tight enough that it would work, but I don't think they have anything to stand on. And it was confirmed. It was straight up put out. So, but we're gonna go off on a tangent for Nintendo stuff.
I wonder what that summoning animals. I'm trying to
But
find. I wonder if like I can find what you're talking about. Final Fantasy apparently.
yeah,
Diablo
that
3,
too.
D&D based games.
Yep, yep. All of those.
Yeah. So if
It's
you
crazy, man.
Borderlands 2 who has one character in a DLC who can do that. So
Probably.
if you enjoy any of those IPs, it's probably going to get a copyright strike from Nintendo. But this is way off topic. The point of what we're going for with the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I like that the animation stayed consistent. And I did not grow up a Nintendo kid, so I cannot even tell you. I can't begin to tell you. I remember as a kid seeing Mario flying and thinking, cool. And like, that's it. I can't tell you why he's flying. I know nothing about it, but I know a lot of people are really excited for this.
It's got a raccoon tail.
Well, I've seen that too, but
I couldn't even tell you why.
that is a whole different.
I'm not.
There's a whole side of the internet that would be really happy that you mentioned that, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We're going to go into our next trailer, which is The Witcher Season 4.
It's a wraith. Stand back. With these words, your mortal shall meet my fate with fiery hell.
Stab that
Cool.
ghost. Stab the ghost.
Smart fella.
Yeah, he got a.
It'll work. It'll work after the third time.
Yeah, if he just keeps trying. No, I have a really strong opinion on The Witcher, and it never should have moved forward past Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill is so synonymous with Geralt now that looking at Liam Hemsworth, who is a good actor, he's really doing a good job. Like, he's not doing a bad job. I'm not saying this to say Liam is absolutely like piss poor as Geralt in this trailer, because he's not. He's doing a good job. The problem is that because of how well Henry Cavill did the job, Liam looks like he is cosplaying as Henry Cavill. And that's where you have the problems. It's going to take a long time before I think my brain can convince myself that that is Geralt, because Henry Cavill did such a good job. And no one, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I see it more as I see Liam as like cosplaying as uh, Henry Cavill. Like I see it as like, oh man,
That's what I'm saying.
he's trying really hard.
Yeah.
I don't care for the performance, probably because of what you're saying. Is I have a Henry Cavill mindset here, so I hate to put him in that. I wish he was he I wish him well, and that it is a hit still. But like I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, Henry wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But
I don't know, man.
so
It's just when he did that voice, and that's just Geralt,
yeah,
right? When he first did that voice,
Right.
he was like, stand back. I was like, oh my God.
Well, that's the character, and
I
he's
know.
trying his darndest.
I know, but it's weird. It's just like, he's not doing a bad job, but it's like when you see him do it, especially in the role that should still be Henry Cavill, you cringe a little bit, right? Like, I don't know. I feel bad for him because it's like, it's tough to follow up somebody like that.
Right.
So I just feel for the guy. Any thoughts?
I have none. We can move on from that. I'm not too excited about season 4 of The Witcher.
No, I'm not either. So we'll go ahead and move on. Our third trailer of the day, of the evening, is Kristy.
Ladies and gentlemen, have I got a treat for you? You must be the lady I've been hearing so much about.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to meet you, Mr. King.
Now tell me about yourself. Jesse here says that you fight in all pink.
I'm from West Virginia.
What's that got to do with pink? You the world champion right now. You think you what makes the world turn. But one day you're gonna wake up and realize that it turns just fine without you.
Your eyes don't deceive you, ladies and gentlemen. That is, in fact, Sydney Sweeney. And she
Getting beat up.
beat up. Can we stop collectively with the slowed frame rate, like when you slow it down and it's like the choppy, like I hate that. It's just do slow-mo. Like just add the ringing and do slow. You know what I'm talking about? It's cheap. It looks cheap. Anyway, sorry.
But it might be. They're doing their best, Ryan.
No, it's just you could choose not to do that. And anyway.
Yeah.
This looks like another boxing movie. I don't know how to put it. It's just it looks like another Rocky spoof. Like I feel like I got the same vibe from the Smashing Machine. Like it's you know what I mean? It's just like a fighter's rise in resilience. Not that those don't have a place.
Purely from the trailer alone, I agree. But I think what we just saw was like the first 30 minutes of the movie. After her downfall, the trailer does allude to more. And so she is in an abusive relationship. The guy's threatening to kill her if she leaves him. He was, I assume, her manager, but she's in a relationship with him. It's a whole lot more drama and like, I don't know if it's a come up story. I don't know how it ends. But like there is context to after the downfall and how she's after her big defeat. I think she tumbled and is trying to work her way back up.
I'd be invested in that.
Despite all of the negativity and the poor relationship that she's in. There was one moment where she was talking to her own mother about how awful and abusive he was. Her partner was to her, and her mom was like, "Honey, you're acting crazy."
Ugh.
And it's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
mama!" But I implore all of you to go watch the trailer because it's now back to my normal cadence. Is the trailer tells you everything you need to know about the movie. You don't need to go watch it after watching the trailer. Hot take, I would say it's the coldest take in the world because that trailer was a tad long and it definitely told me everything that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Is that how you get butts and seats nowadays? I don't know. But I know what happens in the movie. I don't know how it ends, just how they always really do it, but I can infer that it's not going to be like a tragedy. I think it's going to work out in some capacity.
Yeah. I'd be invested in if it was it again. I just beyond what I described. Yes, I'd be invested, but also I don't know. I try to avoid trailers if I'm interested in a movie. Like I'll watch a teaser, but like a full trailer, I have a tendency to avoid.
Yeah, nowadays there's just it's too much. It's too much given away. I don't know, man. I just don't care for it.
It's shocking that we want to actually enjoy the movie. Like, please. Anyway.
Nah.
Here you go, full movie, 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5-minute trailer, full movie.
Now come watch the 90-minute version.
So, yeah.
And lastly, from our trailers, we have the full trailer for Springsteen, Deliver Me Nowhere.
It feels different coming home. There's a real emptiness.
I think Bruce is afraid of what's coming, and he feels guilty leaving behind the world he knows.
It's like I'm always running away from something. Like the past is breathing down my neck.
I don't have to tell you. We got to hit it out of the park with the next record. Bruce Springsteen's on a rocket ship. We don't want to miss that window.
The label, once you have your first top 10, they're just thinking about momentum.
I'm trying to find something real. These new songs, they're different, but they're the only thing making sense to me right now. The only thing I can still believe in.
Then we'll get it. Whatever it takes.
Whoa.
Whoa.
He's typing.
I'm
What do we
gonna.
think about Springsteen?
I have a thing about, and this is gonna be a hot take. Not hot take.
Yeah.
It's gonna be my take, actually. It's probably not hot at all. Have we
Okay.
biopicked our way out of biopics? Are we? How many of these can we have, dude? Like it's just like my point about the clip you cut together from Kristy, right? It's like they all at some point they look the same. I watched Bohemian Rhapsody and I watched Elvis, and now I just feel like everyone after that are the same.
I've seen the same. I've seen the same movies you just listed off in it. I love Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
I didn't care much for Elvis.
I thought Elvis was fun, but it's definitely
I watched-
a theater movie.
I forgot about Elton John's Rocket Man. I watched it, but I don't remember a lot of it. I thought that was pretty good, but I did forget about it. So
That's with Edgerton,
but,
right? What's his name?
yes,
Ed-
yes, he did very well.
Yeah.
But I like Springsteen. I like a lot of what Springsteen did. That's a Kanye, I think, related quote there. No, yeah.
Like,
Kanye said that
he's-
about Lady
Did
Gaga.
I
about
say I like
Polaroid.
Gaga, but what you know about cameras? Yeah, that's
I don't know nothing about. Yeah, I like Springsteen, but I don't know. They're painting him as misunderstood, and I was unaware that Mr. Born in the USA was so distraught.
Isn't Born in the USA meant to be like a critique of Vietnam?
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
say it.
Critique of something, but
Ah,
this is not about that song. I don't think. I think this is after, and how he's doing some more odd songwriting, and how some people don't know how to take it because it's not his usual. Because he's going through something that's alluded to here.
so something else that I looked up because I was going to make a point about too mmany biopics, but I saw a trailer for Hugh Jackman, and I didn't put it in here because I was like, I'm so tired of these. Hugh Jackman he's in a new movie called Song Sung Blue, and it's about Neil Diamond. But from what I'm reading, he's playing a Neil Diamond impersonator.
Well,
it's not what I thought it was. But also, the first link that pops up is from Manchester Evening News in the UK, and they're like, he looks unrecognizable. Yes, he does. He's just Hugh Jackman with different hair and a one suit, like a one piece suit. Like, brother looks anyway. Point is, I think we've overdone it. Dare I say this is worse for me? Like this and the boxing movie, like the stereotypical boxing movie, is worse than like the remakes and the sequels trend. Like I feel like some of those have like legacy brands that there's like room for that, especially with like some of like DC, right? Like this new take on Superman was great, right? And like Robert Pattinson's great. And if they reboot successfully the MCU, it's like, sure, like, you know, like we have those stories. I think this is worse because, again, it's like this genre is the same every time. Like, it's got the same style, the same feel, the same. And that's just me personally. I know someone could point at something that I like and say, oh, that genre that I adore is the same. But, like, I don't know.
what about the Smashing Machine that has recently gotten horrible reviews.
I think it'll be the same. I think it'll be the same.
Yeah.
That's why you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say it's probably why it's not being received well. It's because it's probably the same. And so
All right.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just going out on a limb. I will say again, for Kristy especially, Sydney Sweeney. I have this term that I use for actors who can transform and play like not just play roles but become that person. It's called rubber face. I say rubber face. They've got rubber face. Sydney Sweeney's got some rubber face for that because, dude, if you watch that trailer, she looks almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
So
Makeup.
hats off to her. Hats off to Sydney Sweeney for her approach to Kristy. But like that is the if it's a little different, if it's like a genuine, touching, based in reality story that's not just a boxing movie, I will be into Kristy. It has that caveat for me. But Springsteen, just another biopic, man. Just another, more of the same.
Brian says snooze fest.
Honk Chew, big time.
Honk shoe.
Honk Chew. Man, I am in my old time
That's
sleeping
crazy.
robe. I've got the little hat, and every time I breathe, it goes, it like blows up and comes right back down. Yep.
Sucks into his mouth.
Me in the theater is just Ebenezer Scrooge with the top of the sleeping cap. I'm in there.
Bro's got a candle.
Yep. I'm walking around the theater. Sorry, guys.
Oh my gosh.
No, thank
you. Might
you.
be visited by 3 ghosts.
Can you imagine you're watching Springsteen, you just hear a guy go, oh! It's like he float the phone around by the ghost of Christmas past. And
Oh my god.
that'd be awesome. Anyway, sorry.
And then he would go watch Springsteen.
And then I'd watch it again, and they'd be like, you have to appreciate it for the art. And I'm like, I will never underestimate a film again. Anyway.
What'd you learn here today, folks?
We might have autism. Is what I think we're learning here today.
Oh,
Anyway, that will be the end of our trailers, ladies and gentlemen. We have one last quick segment to run by you guys before we let you guys go. 15 minutes. We will let you guys out 15 minutes early. We've been at or over 2 hours. We have 5 minutes. I will let you guys go as quickly as we can. So let's do this. Let's do this, Jake. What you should know before you go. The MEC's Seth Rogen's The Studio, Warner Brothers' The Penguin, Netflix Adolescence, and more hit big. But The Bear earned 0 after winning 11 Emmys last year. A24 is reportedly in negotiations to buy the rights to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, would then create a TV series based on the IP. The sequel to Nintendo... Oh, no, I already have that. Sorry about that. That was going back over Super Mario. Lord of the Rings and Rudy star Sean Astin has been named president of SAG-AFTRA. According to Ice Cube, The War of the Worlds was finished during COVID over a 15-day period, which explains a lot. Rainn Wilson from The Office fame says NBC should have moved forward with their Dwight Schrute spinoff titled The Farm instead of The Paper. And lastly, Warner Brothers has reportedly been preparing to spend big on a Sinners Oscar campaign. So, which
I have not seen Adolescence.
I haven't either. But which stands out?
Have you heard anything?
I've seen bits and pieces like floating around, but I've not seen a lot. I type in AD and it pops up.
Was it the youngest person to get an Emmy?
It won. Oh, excuse me, audience. Sorry, you just heard that trailer pop up. I pressed a link hoping that it would pop. So when you type into Google, you didn't hear it, Jake, but our audience definitely heard it.
I did not.
when you type into Google, it pops up like the trophy will rise from the bottom. And I thought it was going to take me to the awards it won because it said multiple awards won at the Emmys. And when I pressed on it, it took me to the trailer. And I just blasted my audience with the beginning of the trailer for Adolescence. So I'm sorry, guys. But
good job, bro.
Yeah. Good job. But anyway, the story of this is as follows, according to Google. Quote, a family's world turns upside down when 13-year-old Jamie Miller is arrested for murdering a schoolmate. The charges against their son force them to confront every parent's worst nightmare. I'm into this. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a different version of, like, have you ever seen the show not Bridgerton? Broadchurch. not Bridgerton. Broadchurch. Come on, you can't even act like they don't have the same Broadchurch.
So funny.
You know what I'm saying? Broadchurch with David Tennant, Olivia Colman. I've talked about it a little bit on the show.
Okay.
It's like a crime thriller about a disappearance of a young boy and like the investigation that follows. This feels like that, but like a little bit more twisted. So I'm interested to see. I can't believe I hadn't dug deeper into this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, this series, Netflix series, won big last night or the night before at the Emmys.
In the Penguin.
Yeah.
And it does suck to see the Bear not win any, but it did win 11 last year, so it's kind of like
Something I didn't name on here was Andor won big too.
Did it?
Yeah.
I was unsure if people if that was going to win anything, so it's nice to hear that it did. Moving on down the line, I completely agree with Rainn Wilson and coming up with a spin-off with The Farm. I feel like that was a much better idea than the paper. We shall see. I think the paper's out right now. Is it well received?
It's already got a season 2, and I feel like people are saying like it's
They canceled season 2s, like the Dexter one.
Oh,
As soon as they announced it, they canceled it.
are you saying that as a joke, or are you saying that really happened?
The one where he was younger.
Oh no, I thought sorry.
Not Resurrection.
I missed something. You like cut out for a second on my end, so I thought you said that the paper was canceled after one's. Like,
No, but they've done it before. They've announced the second season and then they've canceled it. So
I think from what I had read online, the paper is like what you would expect from a first season of a show that could be good. It's like, you know how The Office first season is like generally not very good. That's what they say is like the paper like has bright spots, but that if they keep going, it could get really good like The Office, which that's like what you want to hear is like you got a good starting point. So
by the ratings, it started out at a high 6 and it worked its way up through the 7s through the entire season and then ended on an 8.4.
Good for them.
So it's like pretty much a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Which is what you want.
Which for a first season, for a pilot season, I would call it.
Yeah.
Let me see what the Office did. Oh, of course. Hold on.
Oh, it's got to be
going, Ryan.
worse. It's got to be worse than the paper, I would imagine, because it's first season.
Mid to high 7s first season, 6 episodes. Season 2 were 8s, pretty much all the way through, averaging about 8. Had some 9s in there. Same for 3, same for 4, same for 5, same for 6, same for 7. Just 8s, just pretty much. And you got like the high episodes of 9s. There was a 9.8 at one time apparently, and then towards the later seasons, season 7, season 8, season 9 of The Office, it started going downhill. Season 8 particularly spelling disaster, and then season 9 just being low 7s, which is still not bad. That's just like where the paper's starting, and so it did definitely have that bell curve where it climaxed around season 5, season 6. But that's how The Office was compared to the paper. I think it's right on par.
I would say The Office having 7s in its first 6 episodes, that's hindsight bias, dude. That people went back when it blew up again in the early, like in the mid 2010s and reviewed, gave it. Yeah, because no, everyone consensus agrees. And I would imagine that when it came out, people were like, this just isn't great. So I would say that it probably would have around the same, the 6s and the 7s. Like I know, like you just said, mid to high 7s all the way through, but I would imagine that it was lower than that at one point, and then people went back and rewatched it in the 2010s, and they were like, "Oh, this is great," because we can remember.
I think Steve Carell layered it on a little thick in the first season.
Yeah,
he made me very uncomfortable.
He was hard to find the lovable Michael Scott in season 1. When I think of Michael Scott after watching The Office, I think of like when he goes to Pam's art show and he's the only one and he's like, I'm proud of you. Like, how much to buy it? Like, that's Michael Scott that I feel like we needed to see. And I'm happy we got it. But season 1 was not that.
Scott's tots.
He
doesn't like what I mentioned.
I really have PTSD, dude. Like, I there's not many episodes of The Office that like I had to turn off. Actually, no, there's none other than that one. When that one got to the point to where he's like in front of those kids and they're like singing to him and he's like, he can't say it. And they're like, like I literally was like, I can't do this. Like I literally I can't do it.
Wonder how many people skipped that episode.
Oh, that has to be the one because I didn't even know that was like a consensus for people to skip until I talked to others about it and they were like, I could not do Scott's Tots. And I was like, same.
It never happened.
Like I've never had a fight or flight response to some like cringe or like
Yeah.
embarrassing things on TV, but that one got me. I was like, I can't do it.
It happens to me a lot. I tried to watch Friendship with Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson.
I bet
I could not
I
make
bet
it
that
through
was
it.
funny though.
I couldn't. Not really.
I love Tim Robinson.
I love Tim Robinson, and I watched that, and I didn't make it through half.
And that might be
I
why
had to stop watching.
it didn't do very good.
I legitimately, I asked a girlfriend if I could turn it off. I did not want to watch it anymore, man. It was not. I thought it was going to be a happy story and just be funny, haha, with Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson the whole way. And I'm going to spoil it a little bit because it's been out for a little bit, but they don't like end up liking each other. They don't like each other halfway through the movie, and I don't know if they ever end up coming back together as buds, but they have a big falling out.
Yeah.
And it just makes the rest of the movie Tim Robinson level awkward and not Tim Robinson level funny. It was just him being very socially inept, which gives me that secondhand embarrassment that I can't deal with. So Friendship was a no for me. I could not sit through it.
What doesn't Tim Robinson have a new show coming out? Oh yeah. This was it's via Variety. It's a new HBO series called The Chair Company.
Okay.
It's co-created by Robinson and his I Think You Should Leave collaborator Zach Cannon. The show follows a man who begins investigating a far-reaching conspiracy after suffering an embarrassing incident at work. That actually does sound pretty good. Like it's an 8-episode, I guess it's a limited series, and it will release weekly. Oh, it starts next month.
Okay.
Okay. Hey,
we are getting off on a small tangent. Last thing I want to leave everybody with is something I said about Lord of the Rings, and Rudy stars Sean Astin being named president of SAG-AFTRA. He was mayor of the Shire, technically. His character at least was, and so I think that just fits perfectly.
No one hates Sean Astin. Like he's such.
And nobody hates
Elijah
the
Wood.
guy he played in Lord of the Rings.
Samwise Gamgee.
Samwise Gamgee.
Samwise should have been the one to carry the ring. That's another time. Anyway. Back
That is
to,
a hot take. A lot of people say that.
Back to going back to this, right? I think the one thing I'll communicate and talk about is the War of the Worlds. Have you seen anything of that? Like other than the clips online, have you I won't even dare say sat down to try and watch it, but do you know, like, have you seen how the film?
Maybe that's a special we'll do.
Oh,
maybe we all just
yes.
kind of watch it.
I would love to actually. It looks like it was done during COVID.
In 15 days.
It really looks like it. Actually, I've seen a lot of clips from it and I know the general story. It looks hilarious. And so I'd be very interested to do a special of us watching. We should do it from here and watch it like in the movie. Anyway, I think that's a good stopping point. Any final thoughts we'll leave our audience?
I have none. I don't have any, man.
Head empty.
You have any?
Don't make a movie about War of the Worlds during a pandemic over a just over 2-week period. Don't do that.
With a webcam,
yeah,
and Ice Cube.
Yeah, mostly over Zoom. Don't do that. Other than that, like, share, follow, subscribe, tell your grunkle about us. Yeah, and I don't know. As Captain Price once said, stay frosty. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.